What's the difference between this 350 pound shaft and this 300 pound shaft? Now, these shafts are a big old upgrade, but that tends to come with an extra performance. It's not always like, oh, 30 yards extra, but it's a much cleaner, more consistent flight and more reliability. So if you can predict your way around the golf course because you trust your equipment to do what it needs to do more often, then sometimes it's worth the spend. But do I put my money into the Brava Tour, or do I put it into the Tour approved, most used shaft on tour, Velocore Plus? Or Velocore range is generally like the most used shaft on tour for good reason. Now, I'm using these on a Callaway AI Smoke Max with the weight in the toe on -1 neutral. So let's have a few whacks with the Brava Tour. And it's gone straight right. Brilliant. Ugh. I've just been hitting a different driver with a very different shaft, and this clearly goes right off that. So I can give this one a little bit more. Nope, straight right. Ah, there we go. I'm probably going to ignore the first two. We'll call them warm-up swings. That was a big old draw. It was a little bit out the toe, to be fair, but I do like the feel of this. It's got a bit of wobble to it. I can feel it moving. Does that compromise its consistency? Well, potentially not. That was very nice. Oh, I've got an array of swings here. Right, concentrate. Knee stay stable, club comes up, bang. Knee stay stable. Spraying it everywhere. I have to say, this shaft feels absolutely delightful. It feels easy to use. And it just gets through the ball quite nicely. This is the Brava Tour. I've got another video on the Brava compared. When you use the Brava and the Tour, you feel the Tour is harder and stiffer. When you haven't used the Brava, you can feel this has got some play in it. Now the trick is for the shaft brands to make a shaft that has a bit more play in it to help us bend and release into the ball and get decent performance without excessive twist. Now I haven't struck them particularly well, but it's still going quite nicely. Testament to how good these heads are, to be fair. But we'll take that one quite nicely, 311. So let's get the Velocore in there and just see whether it's higher, whether it's lower, whether it's the tightest dispersion. And I have to say, I have consistently seen the Velocore shafts perform with a very tight dispersion with less variance than other shafts. It's going to take a lot to beat the Velocore, but does that extra spend in the Brava relate to extra performance compared to this? And if it does, why aren't tour players using the Brava instead? Now I picked the two closest matching shafts in the lineup. With the Brava, you've got Brava, Brava Tour, two options. In the Velocore, you've got the red, the blue, the black, and you've also got 5, 6, 7, 8. You've got like different weights in each color, all the different flexes in that color as well. There's a bigger spectrum of choice in the Velocore shaft, so a little bit more tunability to the golfer. A little bit harder to have that full spectrum in a demo kit, but I try my best. I've picked the blue because it's that sort of like mid-table. It's still got a bit of feel to it, still got a little bit of wobble in the shaft. I don't want to go too far away from what the Brava Tour feels like. Comparable first shot, push. Oh, it does feel different. I can feel the Brava Tour bend, release, I can feel it move, which feels helpful. I can almost feel this move just, it's almost like more in a movement instead of a movement. It's almost like having a lab putter compared to a face balance one. And if you've held and swung a lab putter, you'll sort of know what I mean. Little pushy, but it does just feel more solid. I'd almost feel like the Brava would compare very nicely to the 5S in the red. And then the Brava Tour, it is a bit more like the 5S in this. It's just that in the Velocore range, you've got another one in the black. I mean, I could even go lighter in this. I think the 5S in the blue would probably compare to the Brava Tour a bit more. I think that's enough from this one. So the feel is different but similar. I feel like the Velocore just does it a little bit better. However, feel against real. What have we got? We've got quite routine in the blue apart from the last one. Quite routine in the Brava. Just going to flick out a couple. I'm going to flick out two bad shots in there against this. So peak height, highest point the ball reached in the BGT Brava 113 against 107. So the Velocore Plus Blue is slightly lower. Angle of descent is about the same, 0.8 degrees in it. Not enough to really worry about. Interestingly, the dispersions are quite similar. There's not a massively different size ring in one to the other. We've got a variance of 4 yards and a variance of 3 yards in the carry, 284 same carry. Spin rate about the same, ball speed just that little bit faster with the Velocore Blue. Quite a comparable shaft. Can't see any reason to buy one over the other. It's not like one is massively different apart from having more choice in the Velocore line. There's more weights and there's more styles in the Velocore range, but the Velocore Blue 6S compares to the Brava Tour very well. So for all you Velocore junkies out there, like myself, don't worry, because the Brava Tour doesn't outperform the Velocore. The Velocore is just a slightly lower price point. I think the Brava Tour is more of an alternative to the Brava, and the Brava is the biggest change in performance on its own. We get a bit more speed, we get a bit more fling out of the golf ball. The Tour is just a more stable version of that. And then when we go into the Velocore range, it's all about stability. It's all about that reduced torque at the tip. Similar performance between the two there. But jump on the next video and I will see you there.